Let's take that breath, please. Inhale and exhale. And we invite Spirit, Allness, the universe, to this moment where this community, this board, comes together in love and light, in stewardship of this amazing community. And we see ourselves working with ease and grace, and just the joy continues to bubble as we talk about the business of Unity Church of the Hills. And so we release this in the knowing that it is so. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So I'll before I head into some PowerPoint slides and so forth, I just want to thank everybody for taking time out of your Sunday afternoon to join us. Things are probably going to be shifting a little bit, and I'll talk about those as we move through the pieces. But it's so good to see everybody this morning. I'm grateful to have everybody participating. So let me move into our slide here. There we go. All right. So I wanted to start out, last time we'd kind of begin with our new settled senior minister, and it's wonderful to have you on the call this morning for this first board congregant gathering. And I told her a little bit about the history of this group, and not everybody on the call may be aware of it. We used to have new person Sunday or reception once a month at the end of the month, and we'd go into room 129, and the new folks could come in and get to meet the board and so forth. And as part of our effort to be as a board to be more available and to be able to have good communication with the congregation, we decided just before the pandemic, like a month or two before, to move that new member Sunday into more of a board congregation gathering after church, so that it was more inclusive and anybody could show up. And then the COVID hit, and it took us a little while to kind of regain our feet, and we started doing this piece, and have enjoyed it. I think it's served good purpose, especially now for folks that have moved away to stay connected and so forth and so on. And so, we'll talk about some changes that may be happening around this, but it is going to continue in a form, I think. It's a great opportunity to connect and have conversation, and for the board to get, feedback from everybody with, questions or comments. And so we really know what, where we are. And it was so important, and I want to thank everybody for participating, during the senior minister search, because this was one of the pieces that really helped us in knowing how we were doing and what was important and what concerns were. And so it's been a great guide for us in making decisions as we've moved forward. I am super excited that this month we have begun, and I love the sermon today about this new journey of knowing ourselves and our fellows in a higher way. And, if any of the board members can speak up if I'm speaking out of turn, but I can say that we are committed. We are committed and behind Reverend Sheree and this work that's ours to do. That really will manifest that knowledge of ourselves and everyone else, that inner divinity. And so super jazzed about that, and we're already doing it. And I'd like to also talk about the gratitude for our search team too. There was so much time that was put into developing the consciousness, the vision, the mechanisms, the logistics, all those things that were done in an effort to arrive at where we are today. And I just want to put that out there again. Sandra Vela, led the core candidating team and did such a stellar job there. But there were so many, 25 members of the group over time that contributed, and just very grateful for all of that time and effort. And we get to be here today. And so as we move forward, you mentioned the announcements were made about the formal installation of you, Reverend Sheree, on the 6th, with a gala, no less. um, I, I don't know if you want to add anything to that piece before I kind of move into financials, but if there was anything you wanted to add, Reverend Sheree, about that formal installation piece or the gala.
I think it's an exciting time. I know some of you may not know Martha Creek, but she is fabulous. You're going to have such a great time with her. She does the service and the installation. And I'm going to be sending out little invites to, I'd like to see about 12 people on the platform, some board, some from the search team, some staff, some congregants, just so that there's a smattering of the community as a whole to just witness and be part of the installation. So super, super excited about that. And then Tammy and Shonda came up with this fabulous idea. And as Tammy and I have been continuing to talk about it, I love the idea that Tammy brought up about why don't we open it up to the larger part of the Austin? What about interfaith communities that we could bring in and say, come dance with us, come play with us, come eat with us. So I'm seeing this as like a really blowout for our community, and also a little celebration of 25 years, because we really never had a blowout for that either, right? So it seems like the perfect time, and I got my dancing shoes.
Well, thank you. Yes, so I'm sure more will be coming out about that, and we'll keep everybody posted here. Super excited. So the next thing we get to talk about is what's been going on with finances. I'm not going to go through all this. This was up last time. This was just all of the things that have happened in the past 6 months. And there were a lot of, good things that were accomplished, and, pleased at all the efforts that, staff has taken in conjunction with the board to, set ourselves up in the best possible way to move forward. So we're still facing some challenges. This is a chart of our weekly income, okay, and you can see it's a little bit like the heartbeat. Lots of ups and downs, and I've got on there our roughly break even and budget elevations per week. So our break even is about $20,000 and our budget is about $25,000 a week. And we've been above and in the middle and below that. And this chart, it's kind of hard to see the trend. So I've taken a 4-week average trend. So it culminates in 4 weeks, 4-week increments. And this is what it looks like when you average it out over 4 weeks. So you take the preceding 4 weeks and put it together, and we can see that we were operating well below break even and budget up through, sorry, the pictures are in the way, really back up through October of last year. And that's when we initiated a fundraiser end of year giving campaign. And we can see how things, came up a little bit delayed, because this is looking at each dot looks at the previous 4 weeks. And then, we saw a drop off again after the first of the year. We've kind of been bouncing around at about that $15,000 a week level. So what that means is we've been running at a deficit of about $5,000 a week, $20,000 a month, something on that order. This is the combined of the 4, the 8, and the 13 week, and we're looking at all of these, seeing how the trends are evolving. But you can see over here, we've really kind of settled in at this 15,000 a week level. And so, we're doing some more things to plan around this. And I love it because we're going to be sitting in some paradox, which I think is perfectly where God's activity is going to shine around how this comes around. So we have kind of our caution flags and contingency planning. We've moved now for the past 13-week period from 23 to 26% below our desired target. We've operated at a loss for the past 4 months, and we're beginning to utilize our cash reserves. And we have a list of cash actions and spending actions that have been identified, but not desired. And so this idea of kind of letting off the gas a little bit, but I think in certain areas, and we have a new thing in particular that we've identified that we're working on to address what's happening. So, again, just a return to consciousness as far as our consciousness around prosperity and our budget expectations, that we can increase our awareness of Unity Church of the Hills through a robust marketing plan. We can properly onboard and introduce Reverend Sheree to not only UCOH, but the whole Austin community, increase our events and classes and workshops that we offer the congregants. We can maintain cash reserves, and our site can be maintained and improved per our operations plan. And so this is all about that consciousness and taking steps forward in faith, communicating out to the world who we are, what we're about, Reverend Sheree and her message and what we're going to be carrying forward. So what's happening now is we're continuing to finish up on some open projects and ease up on some spending in some selected areas a little bit. One of the things that's a big new piece that we didn't talk about last time is we've applied for a 3-month principal only payment with our bank. Okay, and so what that means is hopefully if approved, which I feel pretty likely, our bank has been a great partner with us. We will pay only interest, 3-month interest only payment. I have that down wrong. I was typing and anyway, it's an interest only payment. So we wouldn't pay principal for 3 months during the summer months, which is typically kind of a little bit of a dip in giving historically. And so this will help with cash flows for the next few months. We do have reserves, and so we're in good shape through until the fall, with everything that we've been doing and where we are right now. And we definitely anticipate that, with an increased marketing spend, that we are going to bring in more congregants with the continued reopening of in-person services and new spiritual leadership, that things are going to continue to shift. And so that's the general nature of those things. And then I'll get into the quarterly gatherings piece at the end. But yeah, working with Ron has been phenomenal. He has helped so much in providing the board with innovative ideas to operate economically, to focus on those areas where we can economize the best possible way while still retaining our full set of services, both in person and online. And so I'm grateful that, as we continue to move through into the next months, we'll continue to work with Reverend Sheree and him and staff on those efforts to really put our energies to the places where we think we're going to have the greatest demonstrations. So excited about that. Yes. The last thing I'd like to put out there is these gatherings. I've liked these gatherings. I think it's been really productive. But we're also going to start moving back into in-person, attendance at church more and more. And so these will be happening live and in person, but I don't want to, step out of the virtual, venue, if that's the right word, for the very reason, like we've got, the Macintoshes and the Greens and, other folks that are, all over the planet that are participating. And so one of the ideas that I was discussing was maybe making this a quarterly piece in the virtual space. So that's something I'd like to have the groups, as we break out, talk about and get feedback on, what you all feel would be productive and meet the needs of the community, to have the connection with the boards, And also for the board members to talk about, is this enough? Does this feel right about, what we want? Because I really do. Every time I get ideas from the discussions, and we all write them down, and it helps us chart courses forward. So I want to get feedback on that. So I think that's all I had to talk about today.